For many of us, 5 o'clock is no longer a hard and fast boundary between work time and family time. Our culture emphasizes a connection to work even when we're not physically at work. We might check our email during the evening or try to catch up on the weekend. And there is a pervasive ideology of busyness where we fill our time with more than we can accomplish in the hours that we have. Anybody ever finished your day and said, I wish I had more hours in my day? Yeah, we all have. The result is the balance between work and other activities is harder for us to maintain than it might have been in previous generations. You might not think God has much to say about when we leave work, but he does care a great deal about how we use our time. And so when we're expecting God, or when we're working rather, God, he expects us to work hard, according to 1 Thessalonians 5:14. But he also expects us to rest from that work. It's really a question of balance is what it is. Isn't it interesting that the first mention of work in the Word of God is him resting from his work? Look at Genesis 2, verses 1-3. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from his work. God didn't need to rest. He has infinite power, infinite time, infinite ability to get stuff accomplished. He couldn't have been tired. So we ask the question, then why did God rest? First, God shows us work is temporary. It's easy to get so caught up in the busyness of our world that we lose track of what's temporary and what is eternal. Second, God sets an example for us. We don't have the infinite reserves of energy that he has. Taking time off can be beneficial both mentally and physically. God didn't design your body to work every waking hour of the day. Wright Thompson, back in 2012, he wrote an article for ESPN, the magazine, about a coach who learned the way to find the balance of work and non-work time. After the 2009 college football season, Florida head coach Urban Meyer retired, and he reached a breaking point, losing 35 pounds during the season because of the tremendous pressure of chasing success. His life was out of balance. He spent the next year reflecting on what was important. When Meyer came out of retirement to go coach at Ohio State, his family wanted a promise that he would maintain the balance that they had found together. And so Meyer made a series of promises which would include the following. My family will always come first. I will not go more than 9 hours a day at the office. I will sleep with my cell phone on silent. And I will trust God's plan and not be over anxious. Could you make those same promises? I know I could. A few of those are difficult, aren't they? God calls us to a life of balancing work obligations and time away from those obligations. A big part of that is time worshiping him and time with family and then time in our communities. But in between those outside of work commitments, there's an important point. God calls us to use our time at work wisely. Sometimes it's daydreaming at your desk, taking a long lunch break, or having someone else clock in for you early. Other times, it's checking personal email accounts and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram Reels, and the list goes on. There are lots of things we can do in our work time that really have nothing to do with work. If you're not paid by the hour, maybe it's a gray area as to whether those things are really wrong. But if someone was working for you, would you want them distracted at work? Think about that. So then it brings us to the question, how do we maintain balance in our work and non-work time? So here are 3 steps that maybe will help you today. Number 1, when you are worshiping God, serving others, or spending time with your family, be fully present in those activities. Perhaps that means leaving your cell phone in the other room. Maybe it warrants an out-of-office message on your email after hours. Whatever it takes, try to be fully engaged in each activity. There's plenty of time for work later because, number 2, when you are at work, shut out your distractions. Resist the urge to daydream about an upcoming vacation. Try to stay off your personal social media, just like you need to be fully present in other areas of your life during time that is not devoted to work. You need to be focused on work during work time. So that kind of goes both ways. Then lastly, number 3, make time for relationships. There is more and more of an isolation that comes from busyness. How do you push back against that? When that friend comes to talk to you, listen without rushing the conversation. When you focus on relationships at work, you resist the ideology of busyness and indifference to others. Now, I have to admit today, these steps are still a work in progress for me. Where is God calling you to greater balance? Are you a workaholic, staying late at the office, or constantly tied to the smartphone? Or maybe you need to focus on work more in your job and shut out distractions. I've learned that turning off notifications has helped me. How you spend your time matters to God, and he calls you to a life of balance. There is a call today. That's why I've titled this Monday Manna, The Call to Balance. We've got to find it, folks. Our families will suffer. Our jobs will suffer. Our individual personal health suffers when we don't find that balance. I know I've went a little longer today than what I've been doing. I hope this is helping you and blessing you. Thank you for being a part of the Monday Manna today. My goodness, what a great weekend we had. Thank you to Harvest Church family. You honored me and celebrated my birthday just this past Sunday, yesterday, and just the love that was felt. I appreciate it so very much. We had awesome church Sunday morning, a great time of studying the Word of God Sunday night, great crowds in both services. God's doing some great things here at Harvest Church, and I'm just happy he's allowing me to play a small piece in that puzzle. Thank you so much for being with me on the Monday Manna today. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Thank you.